What is up, Bucs fans? We are back. It is a Tuesday, May 28th. Hope everyone had a great Memorial Day weekend. But we are back. It's Real Bucs Talk here live. Buccaneers have, started their organized team activities, and they're getting ready for Buccaneers training camp coming up here in a couple months. So getting ready for that, getting ready for the preseason. A lot will be taking place over the next several weeks. The roster is becoming pretty much finalized heading into training camp. We got the rookies signing their contracts. I think most of the rookies are signed. We have a few more to dot the I's and cross the T's, but everyone, welcome back. It's been a while since we've been live. I think the last time we were live was the schedule reaction, and we have Mark here back with us to get his thoughts on the schedule. What we're thinking of this schedule coming up, and obviously the challenges that it presents. But yeah, just a lot of things happening, and just excited to have the team in place. So with that said, I'm your host, Michael Plus, joined as always my co-host Mark Ramirez. Mark, how are we doing? How are we feeling? I know Bucs football is just right around the corner, it feels like.
Is it though? Is it really? I mean, it is, but it's been a while since we've been actually on for a live to talk. I feel like I'm more anxious to talk and get it all out, right? I mean, I just wanted
Yeah.
to talk a little bit of Buccaneer football. Um, just the fun, exciting things we talk about, like on our film studies or on our just weekly videos, just to kind of long-winded talk about what we're talking and how we're thinking the Bucks defense will look, how the offense will look, stuff like that, and just to kind of get pick your guys' brains or what you guys are thinking as well. But yeah, I don't think it's any mysterious that clue, but we are really excited with the possibilities of this defense and how interchangeable the parts can be. And you're hearing it more coming from Todd Bowles now, saying how he has so many other pieces that are interchangeable. You're seeing how good Tyke Smith is early on. Servassier Dennis making plays, and it's not even penciling in KJ Britt as your starting middle linebacker, even though he's almost like a unquestioned leader and a guy that you can lean yourself on. He already called him like one of the big leaders of the group. He mentioned him along the same voice of Levante, Vita Vea, and Antoine Winfield Jr. So, I mean, a lot of exciting things going on, and not to mention Jamel Dean saying that we got Jordan Whitehead back. A lot of cool things with this defense that I'm just excited to see come to fruition.
Yeah, I'm highlighting this tweet right here. This one got me really excited. Just Todd Bowles talking about KJ Britt. His ability to play all three downs, which is very possible that they go into this season with that, but it also gives the opportunity of multiple packages. And did a video a couple weeks ago talking about that, how we could see maybe a potential of Jordan Whitehead as that extra linebacker, maybe Tyke Smith, maybe Christian Izien. You have all these guys that can kind of rotate in and out, play the slot, play the nickel position, or play safety. Just so many different things. Zion McCollum and his versatility that we saw. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what kind of player packages they're going to present this season.
I mean, there's just so much you can expand on that. I mean, yes, you have your core players in Winfield Jr., Levante David, Jamel Dean. You're gonna have Zion on the outside, but it's like the interchangeability of everyone else, right? Like Zion can be moved around as well. You saw how he was moved around last year. Tyke Smith, we already know he's probably going to be your nickel cornerback. They're going to give him any chance to do it, but he can play deep safety, strong safety. Jordan Whitehead can cover, be in the nickel as well. Christian Izien, they can play him as high deep safety, covering space. That's what he's really good at. But he can also be like a Bob Sanders and pop you when you need it, right? So it's just so many ways all these guys can be used. And that's just saying that they're taking the next step in their development. I mean, we already know there's guys that are proven in this. If Jamel Dean stays healthy, like Todd Bowles says, like you have a pretty damn good cornerback room, and those two they're headlining. But it's just all the other things that you can mix in. We're talking blitz packages, who can pick up who, send off to different guys, and that's why they're saying like the biggest thing of this defense, just know where your help is and work together as a team. And KJ Britt's great line. He said, "We're not playing golf. This is a team game, right? So everyone
Mhm.
can play together, as opposed to let's just be really fast flying to the ball when you don't even know where the hell the ball is going, right?
Right.
So
Yep.
that's one thing we've already mentioned with Devin White. So now that he's not there, we have guys that are more in the team aspect. 11 is one. Let's see what happens, right? So I'm
Mm.
just really excited about the defense in its whole, like, just flat out. I think it's obvious.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not just the utilization of the linebackers that we discussed. KJ Britt coming in, Servasier Dennis being a added piece to that competition. Then you also have JJ Russell potentially as well. So, um, yeah, I mean, you look at the defense here, just the exciting news of Vita Vea, training with Ndamukong Suh,
Mhm.
that gets you pumped up to see what he can bring as far as being in better shape, having better stamina overall to play a full season. Last couple of years he's battled injuries, he's missed games, hasn't really been that dominant player that we were hoping to see, especially after having a productive year as far as sacks goes. I think it was 22 season where he led the team in sacks, but you want to see him take another step forward
Mhm.
because he has that potential to get 10 sacks, be that type of dude who can really be disruptive. And now you hope guys like Elijah Cansey, yeah, Diaby can take steps forward. It looks like they're in great shape already. They look really good. And then you have, you know, the unknowns of Marquise Watts and Jose Ramirez that we've talked about.
Mhm.
Those guys, I mean, stepping in. And we already mentioned the backfield, Jamel Dean, Whitehead being the big addition. So there's a lot to like with this defense and what they can do overall.
Yeah, and that's not, we barely touched on the defensive line. Yes, we all know how we feel about Logan Hall, but I mean, it's everyone working together. Yes, he's a liability in the running game. I truly feel that. But let's see. Let's see. Does he take another step? Does he start turning more into William Golson? Right? You hope, but I'm not going to hold my breath or keep my fingers crossed on that one. But overall, I mean, the defensive capabilities, I think, is just astronomical as long as they stay healthy. But
Mhm,
it looks like everyone wants to talk about the offense. We're seeing a lot of Jalen McMillan in there, Palmer versus McMillan. Should
mhm.
only help both players to be the best they can be this year. That's probably the biggest one, right? Who's wide receiver 3? And because they're pretty much saying Godwin's the slot now, right?
Mhm.
So who's number wide receiver? I guess 2 or 3, however you look at it. If Godwin's going to be in the inside all the time, um, you would think Trey Palmer has a leg up, but Jalen McMillan already starting to show things. If your perspective, where do you think, who are we leaning towards, or who you think is going to show out more?
Well, I think it probably early on it's going to be some type of committee. You look at the 6 receivers listed here; these are probably going to be your guys heading into the season. You have obviously those guys you mentioned, then Mike Evans, Godwin, Devin Tompkins, and Raheem Jarrett probably make the team by default, unless one of these guys can step up, like one of these lesser known names. Cameron Johnson, Tanner. Uh, I think it's Tanner New is how you say his name, but um, yeah, I mean it's pretty straightforward. You're probably going to see these 6 as the main receivers, but as far as the number 3 spot, I think it's just going to be some type of rotation, committee based, and really it's going to be based off the matchup. Trey Palmer is probably going to get more of those outside reps, where he can, you know, win outside and win down the field. That's probably going to be his go to. And then you can mix and match with Jalen McMillan. His ability to win on the outside or inside is a good, dynamic to have. And then Godwin really being the X factor. And he talked about it, I think, last week about how diverse this offense is going to be. The communication is going to be very important. So attention to details is going to be really a big factor. So it's just going to depend on how fast these guys can learn this system, who's the most comfortable, and who's more consistent. And I think if Baker is trusting these guys, then that's who's going to be out there on the field. I think that's going to be what to look for early on.
Yeah, a lot of people in the chat have a lot of confidence in McMillan, it looks like.
Yeah, he's a good player. I mean, in 2022, he was right there with Roma Dunze as far as production. He was the outside receiver. A lot of people were saying he's the best guy from Washington. Jason Light said his source, was raving about him. So that says a lot to put on the kid. Again, he is a rookie. I expect there will be some mistakes made, but you just got to hope they can do the best, and you hope that competition pushes Trey Palmer to another level, because he showed a lot of good things last year. I know it was kind of up and down, but the flashes were outstanding to see.
It was just whenever he was mad, right? Whenever he would say, I'm angry, he'd do amazing. So just like the Hulk, let's just learn to be angry all the damn time and just go ball out. I mean, he showed it from the second he stepped on the field that he was a confident dude that almost demanded the ball. And when they threw him the ball, good things happened. Yes, he had that one stupid fumble in the Saints game where he could have had like a 200-yard damn day. And we would say that throughout the year, like he's getting open a lot. Either Baker would miss him or he just wouldn't look his way. And I don't know, does that turn itself? Like usually the year 2 is when you get a big jump. So will that be his year, or will Jalen McMillan be the more heady type of receiver that knows how to find holes in zones and can be used in multiple different ways, as opposed to Trey Palmer, who's more of that traditional outside receiver that just uses that speed and just burns you over the top. So, but that is a good thing. I just don't think both of them will get high volumes based off of the two guys are in front of them. So like, I wouldn't expect much, but I will expect like little spouts where like, holy crap, this guy's going to be good for the future. I wouldn't necessarily think that they're going to be like this dude this year. Right.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I think it's just a good added piece to the dynamic. I think Mike and Chris are going to get a lot of workload early on and throughout the season, because we talk about this team and the new scheme that is coming in. It's going to be more Rams oriented, where the receivers are the primary focus. And Liam Cohen talked about getting the ball to his best playmakers, and that is Godwin and Mike Evans. So those guys are going to be featured often heading into the season, and it'll really just be based on matchups. Whoever has the best matchup going into the game, they're going to find a way to take advantage of that. It's not going to really be like, hey, this is the play, this is where we're going. There will be some of that, but also I think it's going to be matchup based, where they find, who's the weak link, go attack it, and find a way to get the football there. But also they'll find a way to make it where the best player is getting the football. So they will find a way to get Mike on the best matchup, or Chris, or whoever, and those guys will eat.
Yeah, I mean, that's all the Rams did with Cooper Kupp for the longest time. Like, let's just keep moving you inside, because we're going to get a better matchup that way. And they'd find him time and time again. Every time you're in the red zone, you're like, oh, this is probably going to Kupp. And the whole team knew it. The whole defensive team knew it. It's just hard to literally get everything moving. You got an offensive moving pieces, and then you're having to relay messages to the rest of the defense. Like KJ Britt says, if you know where your help is, you're fine. But if you're questioning it because there's so many moving pieces, the offense wins. So that's the madness that Liam Cohen's trying to bring to this offense, which I'm excited to see. I think it's just going to be the next level of what Dave Canales was wanting to bring. I don't know if he didn't do it just because he didn't want to bring too much motion too early, or if he's just not that much motion oriented and he just wanted to run the ball more. So I don't know. We'll see, but I think Cohen is the next level up. That's what I honestly think. Even though people think Canales leaving is a cut to the throat almost. I like when you had the Twitter thing up, they were saying, "Oh, is Carolina a wild card to be a wild card? It's already playing again." Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, Dave was good for what it was. He did help out the offense. I think he tried to force feed the balance, and you know, it started to come together, especially towards the second half of the season when we went on that run. You saw the light kind of hit the tunnel there, and it was really good for the last stretch of the season. But I think Liam, just his overall experience, the system that he's bringing in, I think better suits this offense moving forward. I think the offensive line is going to like it, and I think there'll just be a lot more cohesion and better understanding of what they're trying to do. But I wanted to answer this question. Jason Rodriguez asked who our favorite Buccaneers players were. I guess he's meaning all time. So let's just, I guess, one or two favorite Bucs that you have, Mark.
Oh, easy number one. I'm always a big Mike Allstott guy. I was
Yep.
wanting to lower the shoulder and just run through people. I mean, who didn't get excited when that happened?
Yeah.
Uh, and probably my number two is probably Warren Sapp, just because his shit
Mhm.
talking, getting in your face, the battles, the Brett Favre, like, I
Yeah.
mean, that was us growing up and seeing that stuff. So you get the nitty gritty of Mike Allstott running your face over, and then you
Mhm.
get Warren Sapp all in your face, talking trash nonstop. Like that was the heyday. I mean, him and
Yeah.
Simeon Rice combo, that was phenomenal and amazing to watch growing up. But
Yeah.
like, those are probably my top two.
Yeah, I'm right there. I'm very similar to what you have. My top two a little different. So offensively, I love Work Done. I was a big Work Done
Yeah.
fan. I just loved watching him play. It was a shame that he didn't get to play with Gruden until later on in his career, and even when he did, he had a pretty good season. Him and Ernest Graham as the combo. So yeah, Work Done offensively was my favorite. And then defensively, I have to go with Derek Brooks. Derek was just top notch. And then honorable mention would probably be Simeon Rice. I love Simeon Rice. Still have his jersey. Probably the best pass rusher I saw live in person. He was that good. Like you just knew at some point he was going to create a turnover. Like the guy was just going to create a sack, force fumble, do something, intercept the football. One of those things. He was really good. So yeah, those are some of our favorites. You know, obviously, if we had to pick one from now, probably Mike Evans easily.
Yeah.
Antoine Winfield.
Yeah.
He's really good already at a young career. But yeah, those are probably top two. And Levante, obviously, those guys are studs. So um let's see what else we got here. Another good question. Um, who's going to be the returner? That's an intriguing one. Um,
Yeah, Todd Bowles is kind of understating it. He's like, "Oh, we're just gonna throw it to everyone." He's like, "I can catch a punt right now." So, I mean,
poor,
you would
yeah,
hope you would hope it'd be Bucky Irving because of the way he can move in space. I
yeah,
mean, no one really knows what is the best option right now. I know Todd Bowles is on record saying that probably a running back would be the best returner option in this new format that they have going on, but you don't truly know until like
hmm
they're getting game reps into it. I mean, yes, we know Devin Tompkins is quick, fast, electricity in a bottle, but he likes to jump out of bounds at times. But with this new blocking, like, will there be holes that sprout open that he can fly into? We'll see.
hmm yeah, for sure. I think Bucky. I say Bucky Irving, Trey Palmer, Devin Tompkins. Those guys I would probably put at the top of the list. Trying to think of any other names. Maybe a Chase Edmonds. I don't know if they want to put him back there or not. Um,
Analysis. That's funny. That's funny.
yeah,
That
yeah.
that was a good one. Analysis is a cool.
Oh my god.
Hey, that put a smile on my face. That was a good one.
Yep,
Uh,
yep. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it's too early to tell. I think they have to kind of experiment who's going to be the best option back there because again, this is a different format where guys are hitting at the line pretty quickly. You have a established line of scrimmage, so you have to utilize vision more and understand your concepts and reads and how to make one guy miss. That's pretty much what you have to do. and then try to take advantage of that. So we shall see on that note. But I think they have a lot of good options. You know, everything is looking good as far as the rookie class. A lot of guys are talking highly of them, so that's important. But I guess we can get into the offensive line. I know that was a topic to be discussed. I think it's pretty much set right now as far as your left tackle, center, right guard, and right tackle. I think Graham Barton is just taking that center job and running with it. It seems like it looks like everything is going in motion to plan as far as him learning the center job and how to adjust, already leading as a vocal leader. So that's really good to hear. And now it's just solving that left guard spot once again.
Yeah, and that's the big question mark. And I think
Mm-hmm.
who is it? Sua Opeta, right? Is that
Yeah.
how you pronounce it? As the
Right.
early lead on
Yeah.
that, or at
Yep.
least you're hearing more about him from coaches than anyone else. So
Yes.
usually, if you're getting your name called, it's a good thing and a good favorite way, right? But yeah, it is good to hear that Graham Barton is, like you said, taking the bull by the horns kind of thing. He's making the calls. Cody Mock said today, he's like, yeah, he just seems confident and taking control of the room. Yeah, that's huge, right? And
Mm-hmm.
he seemed kind of, I guess, shy when talking to Tristan Wirfs when he first got here, but I
Yeah.
guess when he's in his element, he's good to go. And speaking of Cody Mock, I talked with you today. He says he's gained about 12 to 15 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
That's very welcomed, especially working out with Luke Gedeke and Tristan Wirfs over the offseason. Yeah, I'll take
Right.
that.
Yeah.
100% take that. So if you got that much bigger, you got freak athletes in Graham Barton, Tristan Wirfs. Cody Mock, is athletic enough. And you put on some more weight. So now he's around 215, you would think, if
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah. 315 pretty much.
So you've
Yeah.
got some size on your line now.
Yeah. That's pretty good. So yeah, I mean, across the board, you're at least 315 or better for all five. So obviously you got some more beef up front. That's very important. And be more physical, more athletic as well, and just being able to win at the point of attack, I think is going to be very important. I think the biggest thing last year that we saw that was the weakness is just maintaining that pocket depth for Baker Mayfield so he could step into his throws. You saw when he was able to step up into the pocket, a lot of times the play ended up as a success. When it wasn't pretty, where Baker had to move or get knocked off his spot, that's where we had some trouble and finding consistency. Now Baker did a great job of overcoming that throughout most of the season. I think that's very important. So with the offensive line being bigger up front, especially with Graham Barton in there, and then you have whoever's going to be the left guard. It seems like it's heading into the right direction and hopefully have a more sustained offensive foundation to build with.
What I do like, though, I mean, even with the Devin White departure and everything, like these are you're losing pretty much the middle linebacker, who's your like signal caller, right? And then you're potentially replacing your center from last year and Robert Hainsey, who again
Yeah.
makes all the calls at the line saying where the blitzes are coming. Let's shift over. We're going to move everything over the left because I think it's going to be over there. You're putting all that responsibility on a rookie, Graham Barton, who played
Mm,
left tackle last year in college football. He played 1 year
yeah.
of center. So it's a lot to put on a guy.
Right.
But I have to say, like, I do like that it's not such a huge media aspect of it, or the Bucs aren't making a massive deal. They're just saying, okay, we're working on it. We're working on it. We're not going to like be trembling. We're going to try and get these guys ready, right? And that's
Yeah.
most places you do something like that, media's all over it, jumping down throats. I do like that, but still, either way, those are two big aspects. Yeah, middle linebacker Levante Davis, the smartest guy in the room. KJ Britt, I think, can just step in just based off a mental aspect, be better. Physicality wise, he's a good football player. Let's just see it come to
Mhm.
fruition. The center
Right.
aspect of calling where the blitzes are coming, where we should shift the line, I think is a massive deal. And people don't need to underwrite this. That is huge. And you're asking a left tackle to just transition to center flawlessly.
Mhm.
Athletically, he can do it. making the calls is a different story. He's going to be relying a lot on Baker Mayfield, and
Right.
I know you get paid the quarterback and to make the calls, yeah, but center usually helps out a lot too. So he's going to be
Mhm.
thinking a lot on the job.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually looking at the Buccaneers roster. I want to see who this number 66, someone in the chat. Oh, Avery Jones. Okay. Yeah, I mean he's 6'4", listed at 6'4", 307. Maybe he's bigger bigger than that. But yeah, Avery Jones is a rookie they picked up out of Auburn, so we'll see if he can do anything as far as making the team. They actually have him listed at center as well. So there's
Yeah, I saw that.
there's some competition there for those last couple of spots. I think it's pretty safe to say as far as your roster goes, it's probably going to be worse. You have Suo Peta and then Graham Barton, Cody Mock, Gedeke, Robert Hainsey, Elijah Klein, probably locks to make the team. And then you have Justin School probably as your swing tackle. And then it's really the last spot goes to one of Brandon Walton, maybe Avery Jones, maybe Luke Haggard, but we'll just have to see. Most of those guys, they actually might just be placed on the practice squad because you already have 9 guys listed as I mentioned. So that will be very interesting to see how that plays out. How does this offensive line, perform in preseason? That is going to be really exciting to see. I didn't even mention Ben Bredesen, so he's another guy. So that's probably your 10 right there. So it'll be fun just to see what this offensive line can do. Are they really too deep? Can they play, pretty well going up against backups, especially our backups versus other teams' backups? I think that's important. At times, our offensive line has been kind of a hindrance, especially in preseason. I know it's preseason and you don't want your starters to get hurt, but it would be nice to see like actual depth at offensive line actually performing well and doing good things. So hopefully that's signs of things to come.
And let me make a point because Corey Hall is usually dead on, like
Mm,
right with everything. He said Hainsey's smart. He can call the fronts, but he can't move nobody. I
yeah.
fully agree.
Yeah.
I think if anyone watched any of our reviews last year of the games, I was always calling out Hainsey, like just falling back every time consistently. And that's why that was the biggest need for me personally going into the
Mhm.
offseason because you got a smaller quarterback. You need him to step up to make the throws. He just couldn't do it a lot. And if you're sitting on your back foot, you can't get everything into the throw. You're asking a smaller guy to get hit more often. I mean, yes, I agree that Hainsey is a really smart guy, but he just did not have it in the pants when it
Mhm.
came to stonewalling a defensive tackle. He just was undersized, and that's why you heard Todd Bowles saying we're trying to get bigger, more
Yeah.
stout at the point of attack, and they did that 100%. Yeah, I know it's going to be a learning curve, but I think for the future, it was a right decision to make, 100%. So I mean, I'm
Mhm.
just saying, I'm not saying Hainsey needs to start over Graham Barton. I'm saying no, you made your selection. It was a right selection. You're just going to have to understand there will be growing pains with this. It's not going to be a perfect plug and play. Like people think this is Ali Marpet, reinvigorated, I guess, or reincarnated, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you look at Graham Barton and you can just see the body build and just the makeup of him. It's different from what we've seen in the past, especially you talk about the transition from left tackle to interior offensive line. This guy isn't built like Luke Gedeke or built like Cody Mock. Like this is a different type of athlete. Like he is built top to bottom, 6'5", 320, ready to play as well. I think he just has the mentality, the technique is already very good. It's already there, ready to improve and be ready to play. This guy was one of the best draft prospects in this draft, and there's a reason why he went first round. And probably could have went a lot higher, but again, other teams had different ideas, and the Buccaneers got a gift. They really did. He wasn't expected to be there. Jason Light was really happy that he made it to their pick, and I think him coming in there, yes, there's going to be some mistakes made, but that's why you have Baker there under center. And as long as you have him there, I think there's a good opportunity for Graham to be okay and be kind of like hidden as far as line protections and stuff like that, because Baker's going to have more control of this offense than he did last year. He's going to be making the calls. He's going to be making audibles at the line of scrimmage, being able to shift plays if he needs to. So I think just the overall control from the quarterback standpoint, that should help the offensive line just gel a lot quicker, hopefully, and be more effective throughout the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, it's a good play for the future. I think he'll be good enough in certain situations, but there's going to be, I'm just telling you, there's going to be times where, like, who didn't pick up that blitz? You're going to see that happen, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did that guy just come unblocked? I think that'll be more of that than
Right.
years past. But
Yeah.
that's part of it. And that's where Baker's going to have his head on a swivel kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think the good thing is Todd Bowles runs pretty much every blitz or disguise that you're going to see in the NFL. So hopefully he gets a lot of those reps in training camp and preseason, hopefully against other teams. The joint practices should help him kind of ramp up. We kind of said the similar things about Tristan Wirfs, and I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Tristan Wirfs right away. He's making a shift in position. So yeah, there is going to be those small adjustments that he's going to have to make, but maybe we see that type of jump where he can really elevate his game through preseason and training camp, where he makes those mistakes, but then by the time the season's ready to roll around, he's ready to go. And you see those things kind of go on the back burner, and he can just play, smoothly and effectively throughout the season. So
I'm anxious to see if they give him the playing time like they gave Cody Mauch and Gedeke last year, or they played the entirety of the damn preseason.
Yeah.
Like deep into the game. So I'm anxious to see if they give him that same opportunity as well.
Yeah, that should be intriguing. You just, we can kind of shift over to this where Liam Cohen and just his overall team construction going to be a little bit different than what we've seen in the past. I know a lot of people are talking about Sean Tucker here. Personally, I don't think they're going to carry 4 running backs. I think that's going to be a change that we're going to see. I think it's only going to be 3 running backs. So Rashad, Bucky, and probably Chase Edmonds as your 3. Sean Tucker probably on the practice squad as that reserve. And I know others have mentioned DJ Williams, the UDFA out of Arizona. Yeah, I think it's going to be tough sledding for those guys to make the team because you're probably going to only have 3 running backs. You could potentially only have 3 tight ends, maybe 6 or 7 receivers, just because of the heavy use of 11 personnel. So you're going to need more receivers than tight ends and backs than you would at normal years where last year we ran more 12 personnel, so you had more tight ends in there. But tight ends isn't really a strength of ours. So why have more of them if you don't really need them? And maybe Devin Culp they just consider as a receiver / tight end, and just have him as that 7th guy potentially. So
smart though, if you think of it. Because I mean, it's going to be tough sledding for O'Keefe to make this roster. I will say that.
Yeah, unless he fully transitions to fullback, where they just feel like he'll be a blocking back, but not a lot of teams want to carry a fullback. So,
is this the year we move on from? Yeah, Bud Campbell kind of read it right there, because he's not. Yes, he's a great blocker, but as a tight end, you got to do so much more than that. You got to be a viable option. Like it's the same thing of how I said with Devin White and Logan Hall. If you're a liability, you're easy to get off the field, and we can't have that. Like you have to be able to be dependable in every aspect of the game. I'm not asking you to be great, but at least to be serviceable. And I mean, it took him all the way to the Green Bay game to get 1 catch, and it was a touchdown. Great, but I mean, you're not a true fullback. You're not a true tight end. Like, let's see. I mean, I'm not going to count out anyone, but it's tough to say, okay, we're going to trust him as a tight end that can do it all, right? Payne Durham, I think he's going to take that number 2, and it's going to be a fight between Devin Culp and O'Keefe, who makes the roster.
Yeah.
I mean, rightfully so, though.
Yeah, I mean that's how I kind of see it. I think, Devin just has just more athleticism and ability. You like his willingness to block, and we'll see how they develop, how they come together. Um, but yeah, I think Payne Durham's just a more natural, better fit. He's already grown as far as this offseason goes, working on his athletic ability, getting better on his route running releases and stuff like that. So you're hearing good things from the coaches on him, and hopefully he takes a step up. I know Jason Light talked about him recently, taking that next step. I think that was on the Pure Report podcast. So yeah, I mean, if Payne can take that next leap where you feel confident enough to sub him out with Cade Otton, I think you have to be excited about that. Give Cade more opportunities to breathe out there.
He just wants to come off the field. He wants to be a Pro Bowler, plus he ain't gone off.
Yeah, I mean, Cade pretty much played every snap last year. The guy did not miss a snap. But I also want to talk about real quick. The last thing on the offensive line is I think G Vegas mentioned it. Health on the offensive line last year was pretty good. A lot of these guys did stay healthy, and you might not have that same type of health luck this year. So I think that's important to look at, and hopefully these guys can stay healthy. You can have the same group of guys out there early. I think that's what they have to figure out. Who's going to be that starting 5 heading into like week 2 of the preseason, and really get that group together and just move on from there. So if Graham Barton's going to be your starting center, they should know that. I would suspect probably week 1 of training camp, right after that, maybe after the first game, they should be able to declare that, and then kind of focus in on your left guard and, who's going to be those spots. So I think that's going to be very important, especially for Baker and this new offense to really get in it, because they got to start fast. I mean, you look at the schedule. I guess we can kind of talk about the schedule as well. Just your thoughts on that, just getting the offensive line together and really focus on getting off to a fast start.
No, I'm with you. Like I think just like last year, they're gonna name their guys. This is who we're gonna run with, and we're gonna give them as much reps as possible to sustain. Right? I mean, really, it's just left guard. Who's your left guard? You're already hearing a lot of names of one main guy that is sounding like it's going to be. I think once training camp starts, the first 5 you see out there will probably be it.
Yeah.
There probably won't be much of a competition after that. And then I think you just run with the same. But you can never account for injuries, right? Last year we had left guard injury and we had to plug and play another one, right? So what will happen with the offensive line? You hope for health, but like you just said, that word depth that Jason Light said a lot in the offseason, interior wise, you kind of got some depth, because if Robert Hainsey's a depth piece that can play center or guard, I like him in that fashion a lot better than being your main guy at center all the time. I think he can be a better helper at guard than a serviceable starting center.
Yeah.
And I think if you can plug and play him, if there's a guy that goes down, cool. I mean, we got him. Bredesen, let's see how he can be. He's been a starter in the league. So that is another serviceable guy. Let's see. I mean, iron sharpens iron, but I think overall the offensive line is pretty much set in their minds. They're hoping what it's going to be. But if something does go down or something besides the tackles, I have no confidence in anyone behind there. I know Brandon Walton's been here a while, but I mean, the tackles, just cross your fingers on that one.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, like, you're talking about Robert Hainsey, and you said this before in the past, but I think Hainsey ideally is your Joe Hawley. Like, he's just your ideal backup that can come in, spot start if needed, be a left guard, be a center, possibly. And then Ben Bredesen, I think, is a really good backup. I think he's a good starter at guard. I think that's where he plays best. He also has center versatility, so he can play pretty much anywhere along those interior spots. So that is always good to have. And then you have Elijah Klein, who can kind of sit in the backfield and just kind of, learn and progress naturally, and hopefully be a player for you next year. I think that's what they're looking at. Hopefully he can be a guy that can come in and potentially start in a few years. So yeah, a lot of good things there. But just, yeah, I mean, starting off to a quick start, I think is going to be important. We'll bring up the schedule here, Mark, and just your overall thoughts. Obviously, the first 10 games is probably going to be the deciding factor, as the second half gets a little bit less challenging, even though it's still challenging with the road games. But just your thoughts on the schedule.
I mean, whenever I see the schedule, I always look at the bye week first. Like,
Right.
where are we going to get some rest? I do always like a later bye week because if you are playing for something, okay, we can rest up, get our minds right, and then go attack it, right? When it's early on, unless you've already hurt your damn team, been riddled with injuries, it doesn't really matter. It's almost like, damn
Mhm.
it, I wish it was later. But like you said, you
Yeah.
got to jump early. I mean, Washington facing a rookie it's got to be a win, right?
Mhm.
Detroit, that's already going to be starting fire from last year. So the wins that you should get, but then again, it's a lot of shoulds, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sean Payton, even though we all hate him, he knows how to build teams. Whether was it just Drew Brees or was it Sean Payton's philosophy and scheme? No, but
Mhm.
it's another rookie quarterback. Todd Bowles has a good record against rookie quarterbacks, so I'm confident in that.
Yeah.
But you just can't have high emotion. You got to play your game because you got Detroit and Philly back to back. Those are playoff teams, and then Atlanta, New Orleans, right there with the NFC South. I mean, that's a lot of that's a lot. I mean, I know people think, oh, they're just the Falcons and Saints. Now, every look at last year. Every division game was a tough, grinded out win. Even the Panthers, last game of the season to get in the damn playoffs, was a
Mhm.
grinded out game. And I
Yeah.
know Baker was hurt and everything, but still, it didn't matter. Like, it's just, the other team, know where their weaknesses are. It's going to be tough. And I think you need to jump on a few of those first wins early on because there's going to be grinded out games. Like, I mean, Baltimore, Falcons, Kansas City, San Francisco, that is a rough stretch.
Mhm.
That is a very rough stretch. I mean, that
Yeah.
starting from week 5 down, that is a rough stretch. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Atlanta both times in such a short amount of weeks. That is tough. But yeah, you look at just the early part of the schedule. I think you have a really good opportunity to start 3-1 heading into this Atlanta game. I think these three home games are pretty much must-haves. I think you got to win at home this year. Last year you were 4-4 at home. That's not going to cut it this year. You got to be at least 6-3 at home this year. I think that's what it's going to take. You have 9 home games, got to win at least 6 out of the 9, and you got to start fast. So Washington, Denver, Philadelphia, very beatable team as well. I think personally, I don't care about Saquon Barkley. I know we can stop him. Um, so those three got to be W's. And heading into your division games here, just got to find a way to at least split Atlanta. You got to beat New Orleans. So I think anything less than 5-5 heading into the bye week, you're asking for trouble. So hopefully they can get to at least 5-5. And anything better than 5-5, you're sitting pretty because the second half of the schedule, even though a lot of road games I think is winnable, you have at New York, Carolina, Vegas, all winnable games. Los Angeles, winnable game, even though against John Harbaugh, they're going to be more, or not John, is it Jim? Yeah, Jim Harbaugh. Um, they're going to be more physical,
yeah,
obviously, with their team. Dallas, always a tough matchup, especially in Dallas on Sunday Night Football. But then the last 2 games are division home games. Again, winning at home, you got to do it. I think the 3 home games on the second half, you have to win all 3, and you got to find a way to probably split these road games, at least go 2-2 on the road. Got to find a way to do that.
and then a lot of, I guess, homers or whatever, like we're going 17-0, blah blah blah. I mean, people would never ever say that.
Yeah.
Realistically, like even when we had Tom Brady, no one thought you're going to win undefeated season. Like, yes, we knew everything was going to be tough. Everyone's going to
Right.
play your hardest, especially when you have Tom Brady. But I
Yep.
mean, either way, I still think the Bucs are a very good team. We said it last year, even though people thought we're going to be 2 and whatever the hell it was.
Mhm.
We always knew this was a good enough team to make the playoffs. This year, I think the same damn thing. I think the defense can really be that damn good this year, and I'm anxious to see that. I'm wondering how much of a step forward they can take with Liam Cohen calling the plays, and if Baker can take that next step and being a consistent player. We haven't seen that at all from him in his whole career. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of pieces in place, a lot of foundational pieces still here. It's just ride the waves. And I think this is yet another playoff team. Where do they sit though? Right? Are they sitting at, oh no, we are a dominant NFC South champ, right?
Mhm.
For the fourth year in a row, would it be? Right?
Yeah, 4th year in a row.
Fourth year in a row, would be insane. Or are we a fringe like we were last year? I think it should be better than what it was last year, but how good, no one can say. Because I mean that schedule is rough in the middle right there. And
Mhm.
Kansas City, San Fran, back to back. What the hell? Even
Yes.
Baltimore, Atlanta, see, that's a tough stretch. Wow.
Yeah, because you have back to back, short weeks. You have Baltimore going to Atlanta on a short week, and then Kansas City to San Fran on a short week also. So yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, the good news is you do have kind of a mini bye after this Atlanta game heading into New Orleans. So hopefully this can be a win. You got to get it done. And then, yeah, a long, kind of extended break for Baltimore. You also get a couple, a few days off for that one. But yeah, it's not going to be easy. Every year is different. I always call it a week to week league. That's what you have to assess it by, and every week these matchups they can be different. Either the Buccaneers, whether that's health or how we're playing, or injuries happen to one of these teams where they're without their quarterback, they're without Saquon Barkley, so yeah, I mean it happens week in and week out. Everyone says, "Oh, this team's going to win every game." Like I saw a projection for Atlanta saying 13-4. I'm like, wait. Not so fast, not so fast.
Sweep
Because
the Bucks.
yeah, I'm like, come on now. Come on. Like, and that's another thing, a lot of people out there, a lot of national media already picking the Bucs to finish second in this division behind Atlanta. But let's not forget that they're bringing in new coaching staff on both sides of the ball, new schemes on both sides of the ball, new quarterback, even though it is Kirk Cousins. He's coming off an Achilles injury. And this team, they don't know how to win consistently. Like their players haven't been through it yet. So there still has to be a foundation built upon. And I just don't see Kirk Cousins, especially with his inconsistencies at times, especially in Minnesota, where, yeah, he put up good numbers, he put up good seasons. But when you really watch the games, like, I don't know, it was kind of up and down, kind of not always there. And yeah, I get that he's going to a pretty talented group, but guess what? He doesn't have Justin Jefferson anymore. And I don't care if you're calling, Drake London. Yeah, he's okay, not bad, but still, this is
You went from one of the top 2 to 3 wide receivers in the league to
yeah,
highest middle of the pack.
right.
I mean,
Yeah,
Drake London,
and
don't get me wrong, he's a big target, a lot of comparisons to Mike Evans, but he's
yeah,
not Mike Evans, and he's not like a household name just yet. You think Kirk Cousins is going to make him that? I don't know.
right.
And then other than that, there's no one else that's truly proven on that offense. Yeah, you have Bijan Robinson,
Mm,
great running back. Yeah, I mean the Bucs stopped the run very well, and yeah, let's see. It's a whole
mm,
lot of let's see. I know it's a lot of big names and flashy add-ons. Like you just said, there's a lot of moving parts. You can give any little comparisons. Oh, the Bucs won when they got Gruden. They just made that little change, and look what happened.
mhm.
What are you inheriting? What are you turning your team into? You get a immediately elite defense. You just need a sprinkle of offense. A
Yeah.
perennial playoff contender, and you added a sprinkle of offense. That's what turned it into it. Then they're saying, "Oh well, Tom Brady came over to the Bucs, and look what the hell happened again." There was weapons all over the damn field. Defense was good.
Mhm.
Atlanta has just been an inconsistent thing all around. You can't say you can hang their hat on their defense. You can't say they can hang their hat on their offense. They've
Right.
just been an inconsistent team. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah. I mean, from a Bucks perspective, what I see, personally for this team, again, I'm still at the same floor as I was last year. We both were. I think this team is somewhere between 7 wins as their low. That's if injuries hurt us. The offense just never picks up the new scheme, or maybe Cohen's not as good as we thought. That stuff can happen, but I still see 7 wins as their minimum, just because of the talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And then the ceiling, I see anywhere from 11 to potentially 12 wins as their ceiling. So somewhere in that window, I see this Buccaneers team. But if they can find injury luck where it's pretty decent, I know there'll probably be more injuries than there were last year, and hopefully we can overcome those. Hopefully it's no key injuries, but if we can stay relatively healthy, I just feel like this team is on the ascending, especially on the offense and defense side of the ball. I just feel like there's going to be a better awareness and understanding of situational football, especially with Liam Cohen as your play caller. Not going to be playing for third down as much as we were last year. Actually being aggressive, trying to get first downs early and often, put up points early and often. That's going to be the key. And if this defense can play with a lead, you have to feel confident about what they can do, not only from a defensive standpoint, but getting after the quarterback more consistently, especially up front. And the biggest thing I point to that is just internal growth. Like, I just feel internal growth is really going to take forward, not only on offense with Baker Mayfield and the offensive line getting better, but just defensively with Kalijah Cansey, Vita Vea. If Vita Vea can be that dominant force that he's expecting to be at 325 in shape, ready to go, that's a huge factor. Not having a liability in the middle of your defense like we did last year with Devin White, getting KJ Britt in there, the return of Jordan Whitehead, I think is so undervalued, not being talked about
it
enough.
isn't.
Like if we could make a video on Jordan Whitehead every day, we probably would, because he is that important, I think. And Jason Light even talked about how big of a mistake that was. So when you factor all of those in, I just feel like there's a lot of potential. I know that's a dangerous word, but just the internal growth that's going to take place. So you have to feel confident that this team can be better than it was last year and be more consistent throughout the season.
That's the biggest word, consistency,
Yeah.
right? And that's something you couldn't get with your defense last year because of Devin White going rogue at times or giving lack thereof effort at times. KJ
Yeah.
Britt may not be the superior athlete that Devin White was, but he plays consistent football. So if a quarterback's in the middle of the field, that damn 52 still in the middle of the damn field covering the spot where I want to throw, I have to think, as opposed to 45 running around. Oh, he thinks it's going to the running back. What an idiot. Okay, middle of the field's open. Right. So like there's things where that itself, Jordan Whitehead like cleaned up so many mistakes that Devin White would make a lot of the
Yeah.
times in the middle of the field because he can play that middle box safety, which again, we missed severely. Like we were hoping Ryan Neal could fill that. Clearly he did not. So you get a
Right.
guy that knows how to run this scheme, knows how to get after the quarterback as well, knows how to play nickel in a pinch. Like he's just so flexible and interchangeable. That's why I like him a lot. Then
Mm-hmm.
you could possibly get an upgrade over Christian Izien and Tyke Smith. I mean, we
Yep.
already talked about it, but it's just so many more as opportunities for better players, I guess you'd say. I mean, not better
Mm-hmm.
players, but just better team players.
Yeah.
Not necessarily better player overall, but better team players. And I think that's defensively what you got. And then you're talking depth of edge rushers. If Marquise Watts takes the next step, holy hell. And you
Mm-hmm.
got Randy Gregory as a backup now, too. We didn't even mention Chris Braswell. If he turns into a maybe light of what Yaya Diaby was last year, look the hell
Mm-hmm.
out. And they're saying he has the heaviest hands on the damn team.
Yep.
So there's just so many little areas, especially in the defense. That's why I'm always talking about them. Offensively, you know who your horses are. Okay. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. They stay healthy, this offense is going to be dynamic. no matter what.
Yep.
And then you're putting Chris Godwin back where he needs to be in the slot. You don't. You, it's just a lot more variability because like you don't know if it's going to be a run or a pass because
Yep.
he's really good at run blocking. It could be a run, could be a run. Oh shit! Now he's going behind me. It's a lot of good things that conceptually we got to think as Buck fans. Like this could be a really good year. Health matters, yes, but it's just more the consistency of the players and the depth pieces you have. And I think Jason Light did a really damn good job this year in building that depth. And that's one thing he was pressing on all offseason, pre-draft stuff. Like, and I think he, again, early on, hit a home run.
Yeah, I think you have to be excited about it. Especially look at the depth. I think there's depth at defensive back that we mentioned already. The depth at the front, especially at the edge. I know there's not that established edge guy, that premier pass rusher that you wish could come to fruition, but maybe that is a Yaya Diaby. Maybe Joe Tryon has a great year in a contract season. All those things factor in. Anthony Nelson also in a contract year. So those guys are going to be ready to play. Randy Gregory, I think, is a great fit for this scheme and what his versatility can be. Just rushing from the inside. He doesn't have to be on the edge. You can put him next to a Kalijah Kancey, a Vita Vea, as far as your pass rush. Or do different things where, a slimmer Vita Vea, maybe Vita Vea is your sleeper at edge where he attacks, he attacks the offensive tackles. We've seen it before, and that was him at 350. Imagine what he could do at 325. More speed out there and more power. So those are all factors. Kalijah Kancey even played edge at times. So there's just different variables. I think that's going to be what they'll look to as far as your pass rush goes. It's not going to be just one man. I think it's going to take a group effort. And that's really what they've been doing over the last several seasons, especially with the injuries to Shaq Barrett. Now he's not here. He's down in Miami. So you rely on these guys that come up. Yeah, at 5-tech. Yeah, absolutely. I think Anthony Nelson should be a 5-tech. I think I'm pushing for him to potentially take over for Logan Hall. If Logan Hall can do, anything, and I mean absolutely anything, this defense takes a giant step forward, not just a little step. It takes
a big dog eat.
Exactly. Let the big dog eat, because, man, if he does something and learns something else than just a swim move, this guy could be really good and help the Bucs defense. But that is what we're looking for in the front seven, especially just that internal growth that we mentioned. Boundary corner, I know outside corner has been talked about, but I don't think it's going to be an issue. I really like Zion McCollum. He played really well last year as a starting corner, going to continue to grow. And then Jamel Dean goes back to health. Like, can this guy stay healthy? Can he catch the football? Can he combine those two in one season? If he does, he's probably a Pro Bowler. He's probably taking pick sixes back. The guy gets a lot of opportunities. He gets the hands on football. Just got to make the damn play. Yeah. But so that's going to be another thing. And I love the Bryce Hall move. I think that's another move that is so underrated. Like, this guy is night and day better than Sean Murphy Bunting, in my opinion. And you bring him in.
That's a hot take.
I don't think so. I think the guy is that much better than Sean Murphy Bunting. Like, this guy should be a starter in the NFL. He could have been a starter at New York, but again, they just had two guys that really played at a high level and overtook his spot. But this guy can play inside or outside. He's a really good cover 3 corner, can play press man if needed. Just really good. I like him a lot. So wouldn't be surprised if he's your starter. I wouldn't be surprised if he overtook Zion, but we'll see. I think Zion's going to get that first. Yeah, I think there's going to be a competition there. Zion's probably going to get that first opportunity just because they're invested in him already. They like his ability as far as his size, and everything plays well to the scheme for him. But I think just having that extra outside corner where Zion can move around, that's really good, and you can use those chess pieces like we talked about.
That to me is a really hot take. I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm saying that that's a really good thing. Because I was thinking of him as being the Zion McCollum of this year, like a guy that if one of these guys go down, which they probably will, Jamel Dean's always hurt.
Yeah.
Carlton Davis was always hurt. I mean, it's the position that comes with it. You're running backwards a lot of the damn time, and you're trying to react to lightning quick movements.
That made me
He has no
laugh.
hips. He can't. Yeah,
Uh,
it's
yeah,
bad. It is bad. But
yeah,
yeah, that's why he tore both ACLs. He has no hips. He just but let's see. He said he was training all the muscles that are unbalanced, and he's hopefully going to move on and be better and be that
yeah,
Pro Bowl type of player that he can be. Him self-proclaimed the best press corner. He called himself that going against Chris Godwin in practice. So let's see. But I think Zyon McCollum's going to get that. I just thought he was better than Carlton Davis played all last year.
yeah.
Those are
Carlton just didn't have it last year. He was just so up and down. I think the Houston game obviously put him
good.
on the trade block. Like that pretty much put it nail in coffin.
Yeah.
Like, and to get what they got for him was a great deal. You end up getting, Jalen McMillan with that pick. So obviously it's going to work out, I think, in a good way. And then getting Tyke Smith to come in, that's a great move. So yeah, I think the corner depth is good. I'm just really excited overall for the team. I think the big upgrade so far this offseason, Liam Cohen, huge upgrade in my opinion over Dave Canales. Just the system that they're going to be running. I think we were expecting last year to see more of that Rams offense, and now we're actually going to see it this year. I think that's going to make just a really big difference. And we saw Baker already play in this offense where he looked very comfortable. I know you watched every game he played for the Rams, and it looked like there was something there that could definitely be taken advantage of. Now you're putting better players around him than they did that they had at not St. Louis, but Los Angeles Rams. So yeah, the potential, everything is lining up very well for this team to have success. Now they just got to put it on paper and actually get it done.
Yeah, and that's something I wanted to talk about. Like you just said, like I watched every damn snap of Baker in the Rams when he was there in that little short stint. And that was supposedly where Liam Cohen was calling all the plays because there was that rumor that Sean McVay retired and like, hey guys, just get your play in, whatever you want to do, because I may be out, right? And you could tell like he wasn't throwing Baker Mayfield to the Wolves. Like, yeah, he knew we don't have Cooper Kupp, we don't have that much talent on the outside. Let's run the ball. Let's not throw it all on him. It doesn't matter if we're down 2 possessions. Let's slowly do this. Let's not make this uglier than it needs to be. And let's hopefully let our defense get us back in the game. I like the way he would call games. Yes, and there were opportunities. It was just lesser talent around him. Like, what was the little guy on the Rams?
Tutu Atwell.
Tutu, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of drops there. Yeah, there were times where Baker was running around trying to make something out of nothing. Just playing within the scheme with better players. You saw what happened last year. He just got better. I think he continues that. And there were things that I saw that he on tape that he did do really well with the Rams. And they ran it consistently. They're over there. I think it was like a 5-game span.
Yeah.
And I think that can be a carryover to this year. Okay, remember when we ran this? That's the exact same damn call. That's all we're going to run it. But now, guess what? Now we got Chris Godwin instead of Tutu Atwell. It's a little better advantage for you there, Baker. So, and I do love that they're saying he's so intense with the practices, how he's so involved with it, and it feels like it's his that's coming out. Like it's like, no, this is what I want, and this is what I want you to do. That's what you want, ownership of it. Like I know that Canales was a real players coach, really positive vibe, blah blah blah. Liam Cohen's going to be obsessed.
Yeah,
you know this. It's just hopefully they all business savvy get with him because he's going to divulge everything he has into this team. I think possibilities are really, really good for this team. And it's just how does it, like you said, injuries, and do you start fast?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with Cohen and just why I see it as such an upgrade is his ability is adjusting on the fly. I think his ability to make those in-game adjustments are going to be much better than we saw from Canales. Canales was very stubborn as far as sticking with what he wanted to do
Mhm.
from an offensive system standpoint, and really didn't adjust to what he was seeing on the field as quickly. And I think you would see it week to week where it get better, as far as seeing those adjustments after the fact. But Liam Cohen is going to be able to make those adjustments within the game, where it's going to just, you're not going to have those lulls that we saw last year where the
Yeah.
Bucs offense was just like pitiful, like really bad. Yeah, like really
Saints game at
bad.
home.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's where the experience comes in, and just the overall adjustment is going to be better. But not only that, but just the commitment that they're talking about, and the diversity and the variety of run game that we're going to see. That's going to be such a huge factor, because if this Bucks running game is top 20, this offense explodes. Like it's no question that this offense can get 24 points a game, because the run game is going to be the huge factor.
And what a wild concept. Don't just do inside zone all the time. Just
Yeah.
run a little outside zone, right? And
Mhm.
and I mean, Canales, he's not gonna lie. He's gonna tell the truth. I'm stubborn with it. And he was flat out. He's telling Carolina the same thing. I'm
Yeah.
trying to warn him, but it is what it is. I mean, Liam Cohen, that was the first thing he said. It's like, I saw they did a lot of this. That we're gonna try and get a little bit outside now too. Like,
Mhm.
we gotta make them think, and it can't just keep zoning in on one spot, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
you're helping guys out where you have variety because the offense knows where the ball is going to go. The defense shouldn't know,
Yeah.
especially in alignment. It should be questioning. Like, I have to read what they're doing before I react. Like,
Mhm.
you can't call it out before it happens, right? So that is a big deal. Like, yeah, that Saints game last year at home, it
Yeah.
was tough to watch. First 3 quarters was tough to watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, there was just no adjustments, but, just looking at everything, and that's again another point to internal growth, like Rashad White. What? Yeah, exactly.
I just saw this. Is great. This is great.
Yeah,
Oh, how did
yeah,
this book come out after he was a Buccaneer? When he became a coach, it came out. At Adjusting His Fly. That is great. That G Vegas. That was
Mhm.
gold.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. The comments are lit tonight. Very good, by everyone. Appreciate all the support. Be sure to hit that like button for us, if you haven't already. Appreciate every single one of you guys in here. We got about almost 100 people, so very much love. Especially this one that was kind of late notice. We just did this on the fly. If you want to keep the reference going, but but yeah, a lot of fun. But just last couple of things here, before we wrap up. And just talking about internal growth, like Rashad White, that's another one who should get better, especially in this scheme. They're talking about him running more violently, running with more authority, getting to the hole faster, not, waiting to see things happen, kind of just instincts and letting it happen. It's also another reason why they drafted Bucky Irving, because guess what? He's a perfect fit for what this offense wants out of their running backs, a guy that can do everything, run with decisiveness, run with ability to make people miss. They know that's important, especially running in the NFL, because you're not going to get those 60-yard runs every play. You're not Miami Dolphins with, breaking those long runs that you see from them. It's going to be more of the 10, the 12, the 15-yard runs that are going to be the things that we're going to be looking for. But can you get that consistency, that 4-yard carry per average? That's what we're looking for.
And then a couple other points I saw
Mhm.
up here. People talking about Izzy.
Yeah, Izzy
Izzy had
versus.
a good year. Maybe I'm wrong, but I didn't pay much attention to him. So yeah, Izzy, it was just we talked about it during the offseason. It's like where you look for areas where you needed to improve because
Mhm.
during the offseason of free agency, signing back your guys, just bringing in guys like Bryce Hall. I mean,
Yeah,
you were like, holy crap, you got some depth all around. The draft, you can just go with upgrades in areas. Like the only need you had was left guard or center. You upgraded the center. You took you got a wide receiver for depth. You got a nickel back that you think is going to be your your upgrade over Christian Izien. It's not like he was bad. He's
Right.
just undersized. Like he was saying, he's a couple inches shorter, but they are also cross training Izien to be a
Yeah.
safety where he could be a potential use his speed and space better. Or like we were saying, interchangeable pieces where you start pre-snap, one look, post-snap, you fly into another look, and you're like, holy shit, what the hell just happened? I didn't know this guy could play down low. Like, so it's an interchangeable piece where it's not like, oh, he's just a backup. No, he's a guy that could be used in tandem with other players. And it's
Mhm.
not, yeah, you want to upgrade any area of your team, right? Like it's always the best 53 will be out there. And if you think Tyke Smith is an upgrade, you go get it, right? I mean, it's you can never have enough secondary pieces because clearly they go down a lot.
Mhm.
So you want to talk about this? Barton is one of the most intelligent blockers I've seen. To go along with his physical gifts, I'm excited to see this. Yeah, I mean, he sounds like a guy that eats, lives, and breathes football,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just getting through a couple comments here. Yeah, appreciate it, Christopher. Glad you're able to join us. Nunya talking about how often we do live streams. Right now, it's kind of just spur of the moment. Like every, it's every other week or so right now. Once we get close, once we get into like training camp, preseason, it's going to be weekly. We try to do it weekly, especially when we get into the season. But right now, it's kind of just casual. So every so often, every other couple weeks, we try to do at least one per month, at least. But we got some things on the horizon. We're going to try to get some more film stuff for you guys, especially talk about some more of our free agents, some of our other guys that we brought in. Definitely highlight them and see what we can bring to the table. We did recently the whole draft class as far as the rookie goes, picks 1 through 7. We have that up on our channel, so be sure to check that out. If we have access to all 22 for preseason, we'll definitely try to do some preseason film studies. I think that I don't know yet. We'll have to see. It's different with the NFL Plus if you don't have the international version. So we'll have to see how that works. But hopefully we can get some preseason all 22 for you guys and do some film on just how things are running and the new guys are going. So
G Vegas is on it tonight.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just it's a voluntary OTA. So that's how we're taking it. Yeah, Mark texted me at like 8:48, and then I didn't see it till like 9:10. So I was like, oh crap, we got to get going. We got to get moving.
I was like, "We doing
So
this live or what the hell are we doing?"
so we made it happen. We made it happen. But yeah, agree with Bud here. Be sure to check out all our film breakdowns. We have the all like kind of separated in playlists, so you can go watch those. You can watch old ones, you can watch new ones. It's all up there on the channel. So be sure to subscribe. So yeah, much appreciate all the support here.
On Sean B, preseason breakdowns. We hope so. If the all 22
Yeah,
is there, they usually don't have all 22. Usually do just
yeah,
the end zone views, or I mean,
right.
that's the sideline.
Broadcasts, yeah,
But either way, like if there's a player that needs to be high, we did Marquise Watts in the preseason because we're like,
mhm,
holy shit, this guy is flashing. And so
yeah,
we had to do a video on him before all the hype and praise got out on him. We're like, no, we need to see this guy in live action. Like, this
mm,
guy's good. This guy needs to make the roster.
yeah,
You let this guy go, you're an idiot.
yep,
And he did. And it's just when you see a guy during the game flash a little bit, you want to look at it again. Like, was this really something, or is this just a fluke? So I mean,
mhm,
it's not just the season. We're obsessed. We get excited too. I mean,
yeah,
we've been watching this whole growth of Bucks, I guess, stardom from Jameis Winston up to Tom Brady. Now we're in a lull. Are we going to be staying there and go back up, or where are we going? I think Jason Light's got us in good footing, and we're going to keep evaluating what we got and see where we can go. It's exciting nonetheless. I mean, we got a lot of talent to evaluate, and it's going to be a fun year, I think.
yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a lot of good times. But with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. Be sure to hit that like button. Comment down below your thoughts of the stream. If there's anything you guys want us to focus in on, let us know. We'll try to do that throughout this off season and upcoming for the season. So big shout out to all of you guys again. hit that like button, help support the channel. And I think that's going to do it for us. So everyone, I hope has a great week, and we'll be back hopefully sometime soon. Not sure when, but just be on the lookout for our latest videos that are going to be coming out here soon. So
hit the notification bell. There you go.
yeah, hit the notification bell. So with that said, go Bucs, and we'll see you on the next one.
Woo!